wanna say it, I send. I like it when you flexed up, go make them ends pay.
Today I have the privilege of interviewing Dounia, and I can talk about the fact that she has hundreds of thousands of monthly listeners according to her Spotify account, and the fact that she's on her Spotify. It says she garnered the attention of Time, Billboard, Vogue, The Fader, and Vice.
I need to like update that
with
to just say like I need to update that to be a lot more simple. Just be like, yo.
Anyways, I could tell you all that, but honestly, people don't realize, or a lot of people may not realize the even more amazing part of her, just how great of a friend you are, just how cool of a person you are.
Stop.
And
Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry so quick.
No more gassing up.
No, continue.
Yeah, and just kind of like how refreshing you are, just being an independent artist, right? Like, and there's nothing wrong, I guess, like everyone can go down their own path, if they want to. Of
course.
But like, it's crazy to see you do what you're doing, and see you build a fan base and just whatever else crazy things you be doing, like as an independent artist, because that's crazy. Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy. So what's up?
Thank you so much. Well, first of all, I just want to say that you're like so amazing, and I'm so blessed to be doing an interview with you, because that's just so fucking awesome. I mean, I'm so happy that I was on the path that I was on, so that I was able to find your Twitter, and like, not only was I just so enthralled by your Twitter and your content, but the fact that we were able to be friends is like something super amazing to me. And you're just an awesome person, and I'm so excited that we're friends.
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Yes.
So exciting.
Yeah. We're just gassing each other up.
We're just gassing each other up for like 30 minutes first.
Yes. Yeah.
But this is real life. This is real life.
First guest to start gassing me up.
Oh, are you serious?
I'm just kidding. I don't know. I just
everybody should gas you all the time.
But so okay, let's start there. Like, where so I'm gonna be interrogating you for like the next hour. So like,
I fuck with vibes.
So like, I'm interested in knowing just kind of like how the heck did you like find me on Twitter, and like just kind of like where were you at, like internally, spiritually, like when you found me, like what the heck made you resonate with any of the words or anything,
I mean, goddamn, I must have been in a great place when I found you.
Uh-huh.
I definitely was in a great place because I was already exploring spiritual Twitter, and I wanted more people that were like on my wavelength, on my timeline and stuff. But I mean, I don't even know. I think I was just reading a bunch of law of attraction books regardless. I was reading a bunch of law of attraction books, and I was reading a bunch of just spirituality based stuff, listening to a bunch of Oprah and stuff like that. So I was already, I was on that wavelength. And then I met you, and I mean, I found your Twitter, and I found your, your philosophies and the knowledge you spread, and it just skyrocketed from there. It's been litter ever since.
Wow. Okay. So so at first it's just kind of like, oh, okay, this kid's speaking some facts, just like like a lot of other spiritual Twitter people,
No, I knew you were different for sure, because you're so. I feel like you're like very.
Gas me up.
You're different. You're so different. You're like so special. But no, like I feel like you're really like kind of radical with your approach, and
really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I think that you told me before we started this podcast that you're like, you feel like everybody could, you assume everybody could just kind of like relate to what you're saying and stuff. But since I wasn't in that, I wasn't just completely immersed in my spiritual world. I'm like, holy shit, if somebody like, like from my world kind of saw this information, it would definitely be a little bit bold, it's like, oh, just master your thoughts. What do you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of it could be a little bit intense, but that's what drew me to it, because I was already on that wavelength, and I was already resonating with all this information. And when I saw somebody just being so bold with the stuff they were teaching and not really simplifying and just being like, these are the motherfucking facts, I was like, hell yes, like I love it. I love it, you know, and yeah, so I just followed you, and like the more you talked about what you talk about, and you're raising your vibration and you know, all this amazing stuff, just the more I was appealed and
That's crazy.
love
That's so
it.
crazy.
Loved it.
Um, think about my perspective, right? Like I'm just tweeting, like I'm just tweeting words out of my phone, and people like actually care. Just like whoa, like that's crazy, you know?
Of course they care. You're
Um,
helping elevating people's lives and
right,
realities.
and it's also like, man, how can I even help people with what a 180 words or whatever the Twitter limit is? Like how,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of been my thing. It's just like, wow, I have like 180 words or something to just kind of
Mhm.
make something, and just so it's like it's not a long form. That's why I have I really want people to come on my pod or just listen to my podcast, right? Because it's like it's way more in depth. Other than on Twitter, it's just very few words.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. And you still do a good job on Twitter, even if you have so much to say. It's like I think the
like
fact that you make
whoa,
little condensed
yeah.
statements and stuff is like cool. I
Whoa.
love seeing it. I love it on my timeline, honestly.
I just had this moment, and I just realized Twitter has helped me because one thing I really
Fucking love Twitter. I love Twitter.
well, one thing I really believe in is that if you are a master of what you teach, you can, if you're a master of like rocket science or something, or the universe, like science, like you can explain things in such a simple way. Like you can explain crazy concepts in such a simple
Zoom.
way. Right.
Yeah.
And Twitter has allowed me to do that in the sense that, damn, like, you know what I'm saying? Like I have all this, I made a whole damn course on all this stuff, right? Like there's a lot
Yeah.
I'm putting into 180 words,
It's
right?
like you know so much, and then that allows you to be so efficient in such a short, kind of
Yeah.
form, because
That
you have
trips
all
me
this
out.
knowledge.
That trips
It's
me out. Yeah.
amazing. It's
That,
amazing.
that's why
I love it.
when I message you and stuff, I'm like, hey
Mhm.
yo, like, like, can I get your opinion? Like am I making sense here? Because
I love giving you my opinion on your teachings and
and I
stuff.
love
It's
your
like the
opinion. Like
best.
literally, I don't get too
I
many
love it.
feedback like too often, so I'm like
Mhm.
trying to like squeeze all the opinion out of you. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I
For
want to know
sure.
your opinion.
I literally love
Uh-huh.
it. I love, yeah, I
Hmm.
love being able to provide any perspective just because I'm like, love the work and I'm passionate about it.
I
So it's
love
like
it.
it's dope to be involved.
It's so crazy to me that you have like this whole other world, right, of just like
Mhm.
your music, right, and people will like know you for that, but then you're over here like just spitting spiritual facts out here, and like what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like being all up in that, and like just kind of assessing your knowledge. You seem to definitely be in the upper echelon compared to like most people, right? And we don't even like I don't even like coach you or anything, right? But you just like you're really impressive with like your knowledge and stuff, like
Aw,
you know what I'm saying. So it's
thanks.
pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
Thanks so
Mhm.
much. Well, I'm just passionate about it, and you've just supplied so much content too that I've soaked up, and it's something I'm just so passionate about. I'm into it every day, so it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to share more of it with my supporters that really maybe, yeah, don't know. I guess they really don't know. I'm just down to be like the real me, and this is this is the real
Yeah.
me, just like,
Wow.
just like this
Who else do
little
you know?
spiritual person.
Who else do you know
Who
like
else do you know?
that
Do you have
that
like
does
friends?
this? That like no, I'm saying like as like I'm talking about like
Mhm.
famous artists who even
Oh,
have
artists.
a spiritual like yeah, who even have like this, because look people, because there's artists who are into, hey yo, I'm on some spiritual shit, like hey, like check out my astrology, or like
Mhm.
some like pretty like common, like just because a little bit about this book or something doesn't really make,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. I think the only other artist that I've seen go a little bit more in depth with spiritual stuff is Russ. You know him?
really,
Russ, yeah, I mean he talked about the seven spiritual laws of success by Deepak
okay,
Chopra. He talked
okay,
about The Secret. He talked about Think and Grow Rich. And yeah, I think he pretty actively talks about it. And he wrote a book, and there's a lot of very
what,
solid universal truths and gems in there, in my opinion. And it's all in his perspective. So I just think that's super unique and awesome. So yeah, that's the only really other artist I've seen go super in depth. And also today I was watching an interview with this guy named Charlie Rocket, and he was like T-Pain's manager and worked with like Soldier Boy and stuff like that. I don't know, but he also talks about like law of attraction, quantum physics, and stuff like that. So those are the two people in the musical space that I've seen kind of go more in depth with the spiritual side of things. But I'm down to expand that conversation just because it's like a pretty vital part of not only music but just like life, you know. So
Wow. So that's something you're actually like interested in, which is like bringing, that's so new and refreshing. Like that's so different. Like I don't even know
she
where that's going to
different.
lead. No, like seriously, where is that going to lead? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where this path
Yeah,
leads,
I'm a little bit mind boggled, honestly.
right. It's just so crazy. One day, I mark my words, like, man, people probably make a movie about this, like, or
Mhm.
something, right? Like, I don't know. It's just so crazy. I feel
Yeah.
the same way, like, in a sense that, you know, I'm going down this path. I'm going down like a spiritual teacher type of path. And look,
Mhm.
I don't want it to define me, you know, or
Mhm.
anything. Because look, that's just, I'm like I said,
We're
I'm
still human. We're still like
yeah,
our personalities and
right,
human at the end of the day.
right, yeah.
But yeah, it's just like you know, it's a dope part of us, honestly.
Right. Like, you know, you're more than an artist, you're more than blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
right? So it's the same with me,
Yeah.
right? I'm not just a spiritual teacher. Like, that's a cool thing about just the 21st. Well, are we in the 21st century still? Yeah, like, you know, like whatever century we're in right now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it's like there's so much spiritual knowledge available,
Mhm. It's
and
awesome.
stuff.
Fuck.
And it's like,
So
and
lit.
also YouTube and just all this platform where I don't need to be traveling the world. Like, even though I will, but like, I don't need to be like
Mhm.
face to face with every soul, you know. I can,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? So it's just, I don't know. So I can do different things, you know, I can pursue different things of interest that have nothing to do with spirituality, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm just so much more than,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I'm just so much
And
more
you're
than
just you're funny and you're like chill. It's like you're your own
yeah,
human, you know? And
yeah.
I think that's also something I was curious about when I first was friends with you. I was like, are you
Oh
still
my
like a
gosh.
human or are
Oh my
you just this like magic
god.
magic like light beam like but at the end of the day we're like still human and that's the
Yeah,
funnest part
yeah,
of it all is like
yeah.
damn I'm still myself. I get to be myself. I get to be my like quirky, you know, fun
Yeah.
fun chill self, but probably even better because you know now I have all the resources to express my light and stuff.
Diversity breeds expansion. Like, I loved it because like I used to believe back in the day that like, oh, everybody is just the same, you know, we're all just flesh and we're just all like subconscious programming and we're all the same. So like, oh, you're an artist, so you probably think like all the other artists, blah blah blah, right? And
Yeah.
now I am like, wow, everyone's diverse and unique. And sure, we have a lot of things in common, a lot of paths in common, but damn, everyone's really different. Like,
Everybody
um,
is different, yeah.
right, and that's just so beautiful. And that's the nature of this universe. It's just diversity breeds new expansion, right? So, you know,
Mhm.
we're not trying to put everyone in the same box because that's boring and that's just lacking expansion, right? We diversity, different people, let's embrace that. Like, that's how you create even more magic, right? Like, so,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? So,
Freaking love that.
um
Freaking love that.
so how long would you consider yourself being just kind of awakened, you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, when did you kind of start to just kind of I don't know, learn about some spiritual stuff or
Mhm.
that type of thing, right? Like, when's that for you? You know?
Okay, well, when I started learning about spiritual things, I guess I'm just gonna go through my journey, I guess.
Perfect.
I mean a lot of people are curious about my past issues in life, my depression or whatever, the periods of darkness that I faced, especially because I was, you know, honest and transparent in the music and stuff like that. So basically I think that's the path that definitely led me down it. I've always thought I was a pretty optimistic person, and not thought, I think I generally kind of was, you know. I always was a little bit anxious though. I was always a little socially anxious. I think I grew up around a lot of people that didn't understand me at all, and I've always been like kind of eccentric and kind of like, you know, just kind of like a big energy. And that kind of made me a little bit vulnerable because I didn't really find that much like empowerment in it, because I felt like people just misunderstood me. I wasn't really empowered by anybody in my life, and so I kind of allowed that to manifest inside me, and not feel as powerful and as worthy as I should have. um so then I moved through life, I think, and I got to a point where I was started music, and I think music really acted as a huge catalyst for my spiritual growth, because I was thrown into just more pressing kind of environments and situations. It's like, damn, okay, I have this kind of like a little bit of a spotlight on me, and even not even in a like a public sense, but even if it's like within the industry or whatever, like I'm meeting with labels, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm in this leader position. I'm like 19, 20, and I'm in this kind of leader position with like trying to build an infrastructure around me, trying to be a boss, trying to still be myself, trying to be fucking happy, like there's a lot of stuff. So it really set me on kind of a fast forward as kind of like path, because I had to boss up, because I knew that my career was moving in a direction where I had to spiritually be there, energetically, and be that confident and empowered person. So yeah, there was a point where it was like a year where I was just kind of a little bit lost in the music thing. I was going to LA, I was partying. I thought that I had to be a certain way in order to prosper. I thought in order to prosper musically, I had to hang out with everybody that people were hanging out with. I had to be cliquey. I had to party. I had to do all this stuff. And in reality, I wasn't really being myself. I probably just wanted to go home and read books, and like, you know what I'm saying? I probably didn't even want to be wilding and and like doing all this stuff. But I was like, all right, this is what's lit. This is what's popping. I should be at these parties. I should be networking, whatever. And like I could approach that way differently, and I could go to the parties, network, and I'm my authentic self, so it's way different. You know what I'm saying? But before, I was coming from that like more insecure place where I'm just like, okay, well, I guess being a nerd is like not cool. Um let me be like not a nerd. Let me like like hanging out with these people that honestly I don't really think I vibe with on a genuine level. um so yeah, that kind of just brung a lot of things to the surface. And at one point I I think I got back from LA, and I was having rocky relationships with like everybody in my life. Like I was having rocky relationships with everybody, and that really acted as a low point for me. I was like, damn, like what is wrong with me? Like I don't know what's going on. Like I was just lost. I was really lost, and I came back from LA, and I was just stuck in like a very negative thought patterns, and just replaying past constantly, to the point where I just knew it was not productive. And um and that was really my breakthrough. Of course there's more that goes into it, but that was kind of like a anecdotal like version of all of that. Um but yeah, so that was kind of my point where I was like, okay, I kind of recognized what was going on. I was like, all right, so I'm at home right now and I'm not happy. I keep replaying all these negative ass memories in my head, and I can't get away from it. What is wrong with me? Like I don't get it. So then finally something inspired me in my soul to I thought the thought, wow, okay, I've always been like a generally optimistic person. Like have I forgotten how to like positive think? It's like I'm just grateful that I was kind of like had a background in books and stuff to know that you could learn things. So I literally googled how to positive think, and when I googled how to positive think, I found the power of now, which like changed my fucking life.
Whoa. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I usually when you look up how to positive think, you find like a wiki how like page where it's just like, okay, like drink more water, stay hydrated, and like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Okay, so I got so many questions for you. That's crazy. So um dang, where should I start with
Yeah, I'm
this?
so glad I'm so glad I found it, because then I went on the
Yeah,
Amazon page and it had like 5,000 reviews,
yeah,
and it was like a bunch of success stories, because I was in a really dark place. So it's like
yeah,
I'm reading these
yeah.
success stories that are like, okay, I was
Mhm,
suicidal, now I'm not. And
mhm,
it's like I'm so glad I got to that point, because obviously, it inspired my journey, but I was just like, I just knew I had to do something. I just knew I couldn't like be that way anymore. I couldn't live in those thoughts anymore. So this made me emotional, so sad. Poor little dunes, poor young dunes. Um, Mind you, this was like a year and a half ago. But yeah, I read all these amazing reviews, and I was like, all right, sounds good. I'm resonating with this. I know I need a change.
mhm.
So yeah.
Okay, so you started with just kind of being overwhelmed with your thoughts, and then you kind of realize, hey, I used to be more positive, and then you start to see that, hey, okay, now I'm more negative and I'm suffering, and then you start to, and that was one of the biggest thing for me is discovering the internet. Like, I'll tell that story another um, day or something, but like so, and then you discover the power now, and so what happened next? Like you start reading it and then being like, wow, I like this stuff, or this is wishy-washy. Because when I first read The Power Now, I was
Mhm.
young and I was like, man, fuck this shit. Like, man, what is this shit? Like,
You
so
serious?
I threw that shit
Oh
away.
yeah, yeah, I feel
Yeah,
you.
until later on in my life where I was really suffering. And I went through this intense presence experience, right? Like this thought it came to me in my head was like, hey, focus on one thing intensely at a time. And it clicked because I remember, okay, hey, I think I read a book somewhere that I didn't like at the time, but they were talking about something along that lines.
Mhm.
So I experienced, the principles of being present first, and then I started to like a few months later, then I started to read The Power Now. So that's what happened with
Oh, okay.
me.
So wait. How did your initial presence snap in? Just
Right. So
randomly?
okay. So man, supposed to be interviewing you. Got me like telling my life story over here. But so before 2016, I had made tremendous progress with subconscious clearing, subconscious mind stuff, psychology stuff, NLP, and it's just all about like going through your
Dope.
subconscious mind, going through your
Mhm.
memories, like
Yeah.
rewiring your subconscious, blah blah blah, right? That was doing amazing, and I've gotten through so many emotional issues, um, but I just couldn't stop I couldn't stop my thoughts. Like just constantly, my thoughts were just running, and just I was always thinking of something negative. I just could not get away with it. The only time I can get away from it is when I go to
Mhm.
sleep, and when the moment I wake up, oh, here it goes again. It's just negative thoughts constantly. Like couldn't stop it, and so at the age of 16, 17, I went on this internal journey. I was like, man, fuck it. I'm gonna learn how to
I
like
love that.
I'm gonna learn how to overcome my mind. And at the time, it was like the craziest like thing in the world, right? Imagine a
Mhm.
16,
Yeah.
17-year-old kid, like, okay, because the mind to me at the time was this scary, mysterious thing that we don't understand. And maybe you're not supposed to understand, and maybe
Mhm.
thoughts are just supposed to be crazy and it's like survival instinct, blah, 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 right? And then so 2016, it was like 2 months in of me just making that um commitment to just kind of master my thoughts. And that's crazy. Like I never used that term until recently, but
I
that's
love
kind of what I
that.
was doing, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm the guy. So it's crazy. Now I'm the guy who like everyone's like knows as like, oh wow, like he has control over his thoughts, like he's good with his internal space. But
Mhm.
2016, I was the opposite. I felt like I was suffering the most. Like I was the one who was just so
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
that's really how it
Right.
be.
Yeah. So it was
That's really
like,
how it be.
yeah. And look, I was so overwhelmed. And then I was reading all these books and blah blah blah, and just nothing can shut this mind up. And then one day I was home alone, um, so I was just kind of scrolling through my phone, and this thought occurred to me was, yo, like focus on one thing intensely at a time. Like I'm trying to read this book right now on my phone,
Wow,
but
so that thought just came to you? Like,
yes,
okay, let
yes,
me just
yeah.
focus intensely on this one thing at a time.
That realization instantly just kind of like like it's not a voice in my head, it was a thought. But I tell people, it's like I always said it was a voice in my head. Like it was literally a
Mhm.
thought. Like it was just like this huge epiphany moment occurred to me. I could just
Yeah.
focus on one thing intensely at a time, and I'll be present. Because I realized, damn, I'm reading this book right now, And I'm over here thinking about this girl who broke my heart. Like, this is like, why is our mind like that? And then
Aw.
I realized, damn, I could just focus intensely on the text. But here's the thing: the only reason I think why I fully was able to have a breakthrough moment was because someone in my past have mentioned to me already that we are not our thoughts. So
Oh, that's fucking dope.
I already understood that to a level, but I just didn't know how to like fully kind of like practice that. I didn't. So when I was focused on one thing at a time, I had realized what was going on. I realized I was not feeding my negative thoughts anymore. And so I'm only thing when I'm like focused on one thing at a time intensely, I can't feed my negative thought stream anymore. That tornado of thoughts, I'm not feeding it. So holy crap. So at the age of 16, 17, for the first time in my life, you know, it's like, wow, I'm experiencing this deep silent space. And I was like Eckhart Tolle.
Wow.
So, okay, funny story.
That's amazing.
Next day I sat through like 3 hours of church without being on my phone. Like, that's pretty intense. Like, right? Like, how, like, what, like, that's how present, that's how, so for the next 2-3 months, I felt euphoric. The day after that, I went to an airport and my flight got delayed from like 3 p.m. to like the night. Like, so I literally sat in the airport for hours. It ended up being more than 24 hours. I sat in the airport and I was able to be super present and just like,
wow.
yeah. So it was pretty
That's
crazy.
amazing.
It was
Amazing.
pretty crazy. But yeah, anyway, so I forgot your original question, but yeah, that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
I had realized now, so it wasn't until later on that I started to try to teach this to other people, and I realized I tell people like, hey, focus intensely on one thing at a time, and they wasn't getting it. Like, they just wasn't able to do what I had done. So I was like, did I go through some insane coincidental, like, you know, accident, like spiritual experience?
Yeah.
Yeah, until I realized I wasn't. And you have to remember, I had a lot of subconscious healing or whatever you want
Yeah.
to call it
Me
done.
too.
Yeah. Up
Me
to that
too.
point.
Before I read, I think The Power of Now too. I think I already had
Yes.
some knowledge of mindfulness, about
Oh,
mindfulness.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I was into like mindfulness therapy and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I was getting into that. So I think that helps. Also, I think The Power of Now helps a lot because it really
Yes.
it really kind of like explains things,
Yes.
in a conceptual
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
get through the conceptual mind first, and then kind of guide people to that.
So for me, the biggest thing, and the way I'm teaching it now, is the observing mode, right? Like, just talking about, like, because for me, all presence technique is just a way to activate being the observer, becoming the space that you really are, like becoming the space for your thoughts. I truly believe that is the most healing mechanism that's going on. It's like when we, because you know, Eckhart Tolle, he provides, one of the greatest things he does is he provides many techniques, like being focusing on your inner body, like focusing on one thing at a time, or just be present, or blah blah blah. And all these techniques, for me, the way I perceive it, all these techniques, all it does is it automatically puts you in observer mode. And that is the meat, that is the fundamental, that is the part that is the most important to understand, is that you are not your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
That you are the space, you are the ultimate consciousness, you're the ultimate space that contains your thoughts. And I think this, and you have to understand that there's a huge difference from identification with your thoughts, like being all up in your thoughts and just having your
Yes, yes.
thoughts control you, versus when you observe, the simple act of observing your thoughts and emotions, you have started to like stop feeding these thoughts. When you observe, because the only reason these thoughts just haunting you every day is because you're feeding them.
Yeah, no, abso-freaking-lutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I think that was just a huge, 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 and
Yeah,
super important thing to figure out and be conscious of. Just
yeah,
the fact that I was in my thoughts, and I was telling you this like yesterday. We were talking about this. Um, basically I feel like I was always a pretty smart girl,
yeah,
so I mean, of course I had some misconceptions in the spiritual department because I just didn't have the knowledge. So
yeah,
I thought that like I thought that, of course, I was my thoughts. It just made perfect sense to me. I thought that's what it was, you know? I was like, hell yeah, duh, my thoughts. I'm the smart girl. I've always been intelligent, whatever. Yes, this is my identity. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that I had to like maneuver through them and navigate through them and all this stuff, or else that I would lose myself, you know? I thought like I just had such a strong kind of like connection to them, or you know, kind of identifying them as me. So I mean, as soon as I read anything that was like facts, you know, in a spiritual sense, and it was facts, and I was like, yo, you're not your thoughts. As soon as I heard that, especially the annoying ass thoughts I was having, and like the past that I kept reliving and stuff, and I knew it was unproductive. Like I knew it was unproductive. I'm like, what? Why am I? You know, like why am I just stuck in this cycle? So as soon as I was like deeply validated in like a very, you know what I'm saying, like substantial sense, reading this book and everything makes sense. I'm like, okay, I'm not my thoughts. That's it. It's a wrap. Time to meditate for 5 days because I'm over it.
Wow. Oh my gosh. You just remind thank you. See, like this is so refreshing because I forget about all the like how far I came, all the struggles I had, and like all these details, right? Like, because I'm so used to what I'm experiencing, the freedom I'm experiencing now. But I just remembered in the first moments of me kind of like silencing my mind, I was kind of scared because I was like, yo, like what if I like just turn into a blob and die? Because like I thought you need. I felt like wow. I thought if I just stopped thinking these
Yeah.
thoughts, that I'm gonna just collapse or like just everything will stop functioning. Like I need my thoughts in order to
Yeah, you feel like
right.
your thoughts are there to like, yeah, you feel like they're moving you, you know, like where are you gonna go? Yeah, people are, it's a scary, it could be a scary thing.
It's but my thing was literally like I thought like I wouldn't be able to function. Like I thought like I needed to be obsessed with my thoughts, right? So literally,
I totally feel
so
that.
the moment my mind stopped for a little while and I realized, oh, I'm completely functional. I'm better. I'm able. I'm like I thought
Yeah,
that.
I'm way
And
better
yeah,
I'm way
I
more
thought
functional.
I thought that I thought that, oh my gosh, like I need my thoughts to be able to be intelligent. So I thought that I'll turn into like I said, a blob. Like
Mhm.
um and but yeah,
I totally feel you.
I realized, oh my gosh, intelligence doesn't come from the mind.
Yep.
Intelligence comes from when you're present, you're connected to something bigger. You're connected to infinite intelligence. You're
Hell
connected
yeah.
to consciousness. Consciousness is true intelligence. So I put it to the test. So that was the summer of before my senior year of high school. So going to my senior year of high school, because I always struggled in school. Like school's always been like this huge struggle,
Me
you
too.
know what I'm
Me
saying?
too.
You know, like it's I wouldn't really call it bullying or anything, especially not in my senior year of high school. But it was definitely a toxic environment full of attacks and like you know what I'm saying. It's high school, so I was like, how okay if I can navigate through this environment peacefully this whole year, if I can maintain this peace throughout this whole year, like I know I'm onto something. Because at that time I was like still like, hey, maybe I'm just tripping. Like maybe the spiritual stuff or whatever the stuff is kind of like I'm just it's a phase I'm going through that's gonna stop working. So I'll go through school and I'm like, wow, I'm like good. Like wow, I'm not stressing in these situations no more at all. And like it's I realized, wow, 99% of the things that were happening to me were just in my mind, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like just kind of like you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, blah, blah, blah. And then the situation happens and nothing terrible happens. And you're like, damn, all the suffering I just caused myself from overthinking. Anyways, that was that. And then the ultimate test was an actual test. You know, I was sitting in like I was sitting in one of the classrooms, and I was taking a test, like a psychology test or something. I'm like, okay, because I really didn't care about my grades. I really didn't care.
Me
So I was like,
neither. I
yeah.
never cared about my grades or did homework
So the
ever.
craziest thing, I had the best academic year of my life, and without trying, literally just because. So, anyways, I sat through this test, right? I was like, I'm not gonna analyze for 1 second. I'm not gonna calculate or think about a single concept or whatever. I'm gonna
Oh
freaking
snap.
I'm gonna sit with my empty ass mind see what the fuck happens, right? And boom, like I'd be just killing it. Like, yeah,
Wow.
I'd be doing better in tests than I ever had, and just kind of like,
That's fucking
and look,
awesome.
and that doesn't mean I'm like getting hundreds on every test, but it's like I almost feel like even though sometimes I would get a 70 or 80
I
or
mean,
whatever,
that's just such a
yeah.
cool, like, kind of like, what was it called?
Well,
Experiment.
yeah, and it was really like, for me, like it was really eye opening for me. But like, but honestly though, um, it was like, okay, just because I wasn't getting 100 on every test doesn't mean this wasn't working. I felt like, okay, if I'm silencing my mind, I'm automatically going with a divine flow of things.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like, okay, even though I'm not getting 100 on this test, I know that there's divinity here. There's like, and I'm gonna be passing. Even if I get like a 60 or something, I know that at the end result will always be amazing.
Will
Cause
always be what it needs to
you know what
be.
I'm saying? Cause look, the path is never like straight. It's not like, I'm gonna start making music tomorrow, and the next day, like I'm gonna be a success, or the next, I'm never gonna make a bad song. There's a divine path, right? And it's just like on the surface, it makes,
Nah, I'm never gonna
yeah.
make a bad song.
Well, you don't have to make a bad song, but I'm saying like
No, I
other
totally feel
other
it.
people, like, or I have had done bad podcast episodes or just podcast episodes where it just wasn't that good or whatever. So anyways, all I'm trying to say is, look, like you got to look past the surface of things, like,
Yeah, I
like,
totally feel that.
because like I got arrested, before I became like high vibration and all. I got arrested, and that was like, what the fuck? Like I just started to heal from the heartbreak I was having, and I was starting the spiritual journey and all. I was doing good. Like, what the fuck, universe? Why would you?
Mhm.
Why would this happen? And it turned out to be the best thing
Yeah.
that ever happened to me, because that's when I like like understood all these concepts and like just skyrocketed and everything. So
Yeah, super much, super much. All of it's such a blessing. All of it's such a freaking blessing, leading you to where you need to be, what you need to receive, where you need to go. So it's
so
freaking awesome.
so where did you go? So okay, and then what? So you read the power now, or like, and then what?
I read The Power of Now. I'm pretty sure I meditated for like 5 days. I mean, the thing is, a lot of stuff went before this. That I don't know. Maybe we can get into later. It's a little bit more, just more intense, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah. So for this one, I kind of want to keep it simple.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so after The Power of Now, I think I went on like a water fast. I didn't even want to eat. I was just not thinking. I was literally like meditating, I'm pretty sure, for like 4 days. And I mean, it was a convenient time to not have any friends, because I just wanted to stay in my house
Same.
regardless.
Yo.
I wanted to
Same.
stay in my house regardless and just
Yeah.
like
Zen out.
meditate and chill, zen out, zen the fuck
Yeah.
out, dead ass.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, so that's really what I did, and I started getting into just a bunch of more conscious content. I've literally been on just conscious content since then, just different avenues and just like a bunch of that stuff. So
Do you notice, so I'm very curious about, okay, like just your spiritual path, like how does that tie in with your like music path, at the time, or how does that work, like where were you at with your, so you're going through, I guess, a phase of realizing you're not happy being someone you're not, or something like that, like, and like, and then you discover the power now, and then what with that, with as far as the music, and just your
mm,
life.
yeah. Well, you know what? I've always been pretty freaking authentic. It's like I look back and I
Yeah,
think that I
yeah,
wasn't, but I was, and
yeah.
I just knew that I had more
I
more
feel
in
that.
me.
Yes.
I had more space to express who I really am, and more
Hmm.
space to grow into myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I listened back to my first project, and I'm like, yeah, that's still me. I was still like pretty empowered or whatever, but it was just different levels, different levels.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the project that I put out when I was going through my like yo, let me just while out, and like I'm lit, and like I'm so lit, I'm gonna just get high and lit all the time, and whatever, I'm gonna just feel lit in this level. It wasn't like a soul level. It was like, I'm lit, look at me, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm
Yes.
high, I'm lit, I'm whatever. It's like a very shallow kind of vapid level.
Yes.
So that reflects the avant-garde, and I think that's what I dropped, that kind of like reflects that. And you could still feel vulnerable moments in that, but you could also hear a lot of the party, my more party tracks. I'm like Henny on the rocks, like that shit don't stop, you know. It's like I'm just not really on that wavelength
Oh,
anymore.
snap.
um but yeah, so then in the Scandals, my third project, you see a little bit more of my spiritual growth, where at this point I'm more like reflecting, you know what I'm saying, I'm reflecting, I'm talking about my dark moments because I'm getting over them, I'm really growing, I'm getting into spirituality, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really growing, but I'm still debunking stuff, I'm still debunking stuff. And now I feel like you hear it in my music where I don't know, I just feel like it's evolved my own type of evolved perspective and energy, where I'm just moving different, baby. Like,
Okay, so a personal question from me is so you're seeing the change in the content in your music, like kind of like what you're talking about in your music as you're ascending in consciousness. So I want to ask you about that because I manage my best friend, right? And in rap, it's usually pretty like lower vibe stuff, right? So how do you balance that? If you balance that, like just kind of like, just kind of sometimes you want to talk about topics that aren't really like like high vibrational or whatever. Like how does
I
that work?
totally, yeah. That's such an interesting question. I love that question because
Hmm.
it's my favorite part of making music, is the fact that I could, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
kind of progress on my own journey and just let it reflect in the music. I think that's so fun, and like
Yeah.
just the most fulfilling and creatively fulfilling part too. Um,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. Like, I know that
Mhm.
I'm still human
Mhm.
at the end of
Mhm.
the day.
Mhm.
So it's like I'm okay with kind of expressing my vulnerable moments and my
Yeah.
conflicting feelings and stuff like that. I think it makes, it's
Mhm.
it's great music. and
Okay.
and you know what? Now I think it has a extremely stronger undercurrent of empowerment. So even if I am embracing my emotions, whatever, it has that undercurrent of extreme, I think, power, and because I'm like stepping into my
I
power.
love it. I
So
love it.
so yeah, so it's like it just feels different. Even if it's gonna be like a moody song, I think it's just
Yeah.
gonna feel
Yeah.
different. You're
Yeah.
just gonna know it feels different, you know?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like especially in comparison to my old stuff, where I definitely can't relate to a lot of the ways I used to feel. Like I have the song called like Dressed Up on my first project. I still love all my music because like I
Uh-huh.
write all my music and stuff, so I love all my music.
Wow.
But but yeah, like I have a song called Dressed Up where
Uh-huh.
like that one I definitely can't relate to anymore, where I'm like dressed up just for you and you ain't say nothing,
Oh
like blah blah blah.
my
And I'm like, bruh, like fuck that. Like for real, fuck that.
Oh snap.
Like
Okay.
I would just never feel like that anymore ever. But yeah, just stuff like that. I mean, we're all human. Those are all okay things to feel, all of our emotions are like whatever, okay.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
I'm just saying it's fun recognizing that I'm
Wow.
growing up and evolving into myself.
So this is what you just said actually really helped me understand something. In that like I was over here thinking, oh man, like, just should we make higher vibe stuff or lower vibe stuff? Like, cause look, this is okay. So this is something I'm gonna reveal to the world for the first time, right here, right now. Which is I'm gonna be dropping like in my future one day. I'm gonna drop like a R&B slash like hip hop album. Like this is just me, and I swear on
Wow,
everything,
I'm
and
so excited.
no, like, and like I'm like in like not on some like whack unprofessional stuff. I'm talking about like a legit like
Real life.
really good album I want to drop.
Wow.
And it's not going to be spiritual at all. Well, it's going to be about just what I went through with
Mhm.
my past relationships and stuff, and there's just a
Aw.
lot of things that I just want to get out, and I love that, and it's kind of like like and I it's not gonna be high vibrational, it's gonna be you know
That's
you
fucking
know what I'm saying.
awesome. I
I think
love
that's
that
so
concept.
awesome, and,
That's so awesome.
and look, it's gonna be a really cool. It's gonna yeah, I couldn't talk
See,
about
the fact that you're a fucking, I think this is important for everybody to know, the fact
yeah.
that you're a high vibrational teacher, and you talk about being positive and being happy and joyous or whatever.
Yeah.
But even you could recognize that, you know, there's beauty in
So
all
much
your
beauty.
low points, so much beauty in
So
your
much
low
beauty.
points
Yeah.
and whatever, and you're gonna embrace it, you know, and that's a beautiful thing, I think.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, wow, this beautiful piece of art is coming out of my darkest times. Like, it just is so beautiful, you know? And it's just like so beautiful that I can freaking just express this. Now I'm in a totally different place, but I'm able to express this, and it just kind of like, it just speaks to the place I'm in now, you know? Like, because before I'll be like, man, why the fuck would I do that? Like, I'm like going through it right now. Like, I don't even, why would I? Anyways, man, I'll talk off the air. I'll talk to you about some of that. Like, maybe you can help me, like, cause I don't know
Oh
how to,
yeah,
yeah, like just kind of
I
like
would love to help.
with the creativity process, right? Like, just the writing of it. I think that would be so
I
cool.
would literally love to help.
Yeah, I would love to tell you just kind of like what my mindset is. Cause look, I don't have any like music experience.
Yeah,
So
and I
like,
make music, so I know that stuff.
that's freaking awesome. I swear. That's crazy. Like, literally, I've been looking. Yo, a few years ago, I was buying books just out of nowhere. I had this short spark of like inspiration to start making music and stuff, but I never did, right? But I bought like how to for dummies books, you know, like I bought like how to start like songwriting or whatever, and just kind of like, I was like, dang, I wish someone who is good at this stuff can help me, you know. And
Oh,
here
that's
we
so
are.
cute. Wow, I love that. I love how, like, you know, I'm getting into spiritual space and you're gonna get into music space. It's gonna be fire.
Right. That's the most beautiful thing. It's like, okay, once you achieve happiness, it's like you realize this reality we're in is awesome. It's a playground. It's so much fun, and there's so much creativity
So
going on.
fun.
And
So
yes,
fun.
and this is the exact same town, the same reality, or whatever. Or maybe not the same reality, but it's like it's of what of just a few years ago when I was, you know, like low vibrational. It's like it's just, once you change your internal, your external will reflect that. Not on some like on a spiritual level, like what's inside is what's reflected outside, like
It's
um
just facts. That's just
yeah.
facts.
So
It's
you're
just
going to,
facts.
so like most people we're trying to, how do I start talking about this right now? I don't even know, but anyways, most people we try to change our external, right? Oh, if I can just get that job, or if I can just get this, or if I can date this person,
Yeah.
or whatever, like, you know, we'll be happy or whatever. But it's the opposite. We master our thoughts, and when you can master your thoughts, you will achieve happiness. And when you achieve happiness, you change your vibration, and when you change your vibration, your reality changes.
Yeah,
And
I love that.
yeah, and if for those who resonate with this, you know, it starts with mastering your thoughts. So when you speak about empowerment, right, and I just want to let your audience and my audience.
I love how just bold you are. You just go straight for the freaking kill.
because I'm not trying to waste anybody's time, but like I'm
That's
trying to.
awesome.
So like seriously though, if you're trying to change your life, like it all starts with your thoughts. It starts with mastering your thoughts. I know that sounds scary, but it doesn't have to be. Once you have the right knowledge, it doesn't have to be scary. Like me and you, we were normal ass people. Like, I mean, sure, we have super lit attributes already about us probably, but like
Yeah.
for the most part, we're pretty normal people suffering, you know? And
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
emotionally suffering.
Emotionally and with our thoughts, and they're directly tied together. So it's just like, it's possible. It really is possible. It's just that people don't have the right knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, yeah. So for me,
Yeah, the
that's the ultimate.
knowledge is everything.
So that's the
For
ultimate
general.
empowerment. Empowerment,
Yeah.
ability to master your thoughts is the ultimate empowerment for me, because when you master your thoughts, you master your reality. What's crazier than that? You get to, so it's real quick, when your thoughts are literally like your mechanism for choosing your frequency, right? So it's like a radio, right? You're literally your thoughts are literally whatever thoughts you're thinking, whatever emotion you're feeling, that's like your vibrational point right now. So that's what you're attracting. So think about, I bet your life, you know, for those who's listening, your life I bet you if you look at the content of your life and the way you feel inside, there's a direct correlation. So if you're feeling shitty all the time, I'm guarantee you your life looking pretty shitty, because that's where your radio is tuned into. Like if your radio is on 99.9 and your favorite station is at 105.5, you know what I'm saying? You can't get 105.5 from here. You got to change your station, you know? So yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that, and that's what vibrations is. Our thoughts is our mechanism to choose our vibration. We have the free will to choose. So yeah, and there's a lot of resources, even on this podcast or whatever. There's plenty of resources for you to kind of get started. And yeah, and what would you?
For freaking sure. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just a crazy realization. I think that's an amazing realization.
Yeah,
I think it took me a really gradual process
yeah.
to get to the point of being able to be conscious of my thoughts, and
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and
Hmm.
realize the gravity of it all,
Hmm.
and have control. But
Yeah,
yeah, it took a pretty gradual process. Like, I remember reading books about subconscious mind and all this
yeah,
crazy stuff,
yeah.
and but I like how easy you just because it is, I guess, that easy, so you just draw it out really just simple. And it's
So,
like, that's
mhm.
cool too. I like that.
So here's the thing. I know it sounds simple, but here's the thing. So look, it took me 7 years to get to this point. But here's the thing. I can help someone do it. Like if I was one-on-one coaching someone who's extremely depressed and overwhelmed and went through a bunch of trauma, if they're willing to listen and put in the studying and work and stuff, they can experience just huge emotional inner freedom in less than
Yeah.
a few months. Like
Yeah,
almost immediately
I
they'll
believe
start.
that for
Yeah,
sure.
and give me a few months, half a year with any individual. Like I'm talking about like the most depressed of individuals, the most fucked up, like internal individual, like who is like willing, because that's number one. You have to be like
Yeah, you have to
ready.
be receptive. You have to be ready. Yeah, ready
Yeah.
and willing.
So
Yeah.
if someone was receptive, like I can, what I'm saying. Like I'm not trying to. I'm saying this not to just brag about my coaching abilities. I'm saying this to say that wh- wherever
That
you
it's
are,
possible. That
yeah.
it's really
So
possible.
so it only took me 7 years because I was missing the knowledge and blah blah blah. Right? Like it was like if you downloaded my brain into someone who's super depressed, all the information from my brain to someone who's super depressed, they can achieve the same exact thing that I am in a short amount of time rather than 7 years. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I've made tremendous progress just within the
Yes, you have.
last month, or something like
Really? In the
that.
last month?
Like the last month, I think I really speed tracked my stuffs,
Oh yeah?
because yeah, the universe was just giving me signs that I had to do it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
universe was like, you really need to like just go
I
for it,
love
and I'm
it.
like, all right, okay, fine. So yeah, I know the possibility of it in like a very short amount of time. I mean, this whole journey really, I think it was, for me, it's been like a year and a half of
That's
like
it?
some more
That's crazy. Yeah.
intense transformative year. Yeah, it's like, yeah, maybe there might have been tiny seeds throughout my life or whatever, but
Mm.
yeah, that's why I definitely see where you're coming from, and I think it's possible for yeah, anybody to be lit as fuck in whatever in whatever amount of time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, just be lit as fuck. Man. Yo, it's yeah, and I just want to let people know that just like a few months ago, even just a few months ago, like for me, being happy was the weirdest thing. Anytime I've experienced any positive emotion, it's like the moment I realize, hey, I'm experiencing positive emotion, the positive emotion will go away and I start feeling like crap again. And it's just kind of like, and it's just like, wow, fast track a few months. Now I'm feeling super good like all the time. And it's just like, it's
That's
just so,
amazing.
and it's just so crazy. If I'm feeling bad, like it's like, okay, something's wrong with my thoughts. Like I'm thinking something or whatever. And it's just like the anomaly. Now that's weird. Cause at the time I was like, what is happiness? How does happiness look like? Like I was just kind of like, I could not imagine how someone could possibly be happy in this life. Like, And then now,
Aw.
because
Yeah,
even
I feel that. I freaking feel that.
no, because look, even though I was already at that point, I was super present, like, but I was
Mhm.
that neutral. Like, I was no longer suffering from negative emotions, but I was
Yeah.
really neutral. Like, and
Mhm.
I was just like, is this it? Like, is this, enlightenment? Like, it's just for me to feel neutral because I wasn't having a lot of thoughts anymore. I wasn't having any negative or, like thoughts or emotions or whatever, but I was just feeling neutral. And that's where, I got into Abraham Hicks' teachings. And that's where I realized, oh, okay, so from neutral, now you can go higher. Now you can go into positive. Now you can go into
Mhm.
appreciation. So,
Yes.
so that's the second part. So thought mastery is two parts. Number one, the presence, the ability to be present and stop feeding your negative thoughts. So that's something like, what books would you recommend? Power Now, right? Would you recommend?
I
Yeah.
for sure recommend Power Now. I think that should be a freaking mandatory read for like all humans.
Yeah. But in the Power Now, it was like, oh, presence is all you need type of stuff. So that I was stuck on that. And then,
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely there's worlds past it, but I think
yeah,
it's like such an important starting ground for people to
yeah,
learn presence first. Because then
yeah.
once you learn presence, then it's a lot
Mhm.
easier for you to go
Mhm.
back into your mind
Yeah.
and conscious of your thoughts. But if you're
Mhm.
just wrapped up in a cloud of a billion
Mhm.
gajillion thoughts, it's kind of
Mhm.
hard,
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I'm at this neutral space. So I didn't have to deal with these negative thoughts anymore because I've overcome that for the most part. And I just had to add in some positive thoughts. And now and that's the part that people don't get. That's the
So
part.
lit,
Yeah.
so lit.
That's the part that that's the part that where I feel like I am like a fresh voice in the space, because in spirituality, most people are at the point where they're just preaching presence, and then they're just going through like years of their life feeling neutral, feeling like, okay, this is the best I can feel. But that's when you realize, wow. So from a neutral present space, you add in appreciation. It's like appreciation is really a positive thought. So you just spend a few minutes a day practicing appreciation, and over time, like, you're really going to take your internal world to the next level. And I have so many episodes, and I have literally made a course on this. So yeah, the knowledge is out there. But yeah, so did you go through that too? Like, did you start practicing more positive thoughts, appreciation at any point, or you just feeling lit, like even when you're just being present?
I mean, first of all, that's just like that's so amazing. I'm really glad that you're like, have this avenue of like philosophy. And you're making people happier, and like I really want to join in on that and make people happier. Um, but yeah, I guess I was present, and that taught me a lot, I think, and I think that really taught me a lot. I think from then everything was kind of fell into place because then I
Okay.
just, I started naturally being drawn to law of attraction stuff, and then I started seeing the power of your thoughts and stuff like that.
Okay.
And then but then when I found you and your philosophies, I think you really brought joy into the equation in a big way. And I think that's been the funnest part of it all. So it's like so fun. I love it. Like I love it. I love it. So
Oh
excited.
man, it's like joy is like one of our natural. It's like our natural state, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like I used to think, oh, like being happy or just controlling your thoughts or whatever, it's just stupid little skill. Like it's just kind of like
Mhm.
it's like useless because I grew up in this strict, it's just kind of like, hey, be realistic. Like your thoughts are just these little things, just fucking put your thoughts and emotions
Yeah.
aside. Like they're just there. If you can ignore them, you'll be good.
Yeah.
Um, so it's like, wow, now, so for me, thought went from being just the most irrelevant thing to like, now it's just like everything. It's our freaking control panel. Like,
Yeah, it's our
you know what I'm
literally our
saying? It's our
yeah,
joystick.
everything.
It's our controller, right? For a video game.
Yeah.
It's like you throwing that shit away. Now that's why your life is so unpredictable and like, and
Mhm.
just hard, because you don't know how,
Yeah.
you got a controller, and your controller is your thoughts. And so once you realize, you understand how your thoughts work, the mechanism of it, man, it's time for leveling
It's
up.
a wrap.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's like
wrap.
it's a wrap. It's a freaking wrap. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm just so glad you exist, and I'm so glad you tuned into all of this, and you're blessing all of us with this amazing knowledge. It's so awesome. Thanks.
Ah,
Oopsies.
you're welcome. And it's one of those things, it's like, I'm so glad that this happened too, because it's like,
Mhm.
less than a year ago, before I started the podcast and Twitter, I started podcasting and Twitter at the same time. It was like, before that, it was like, I was like, um, I don't want to say better than everyone else, but it was like I just kind of had like some sort of ability. Like, I don't know. I got to the point where it's just kind of like, I stand out. Like, I don't know. I just stand out amongst my peers. And it was like, and I had all this knowledge and stuff. And that's what happens when you marinate your brain with presence, is that you start to like act different, because you start to act on like what I call divine instinct. It's like when
Yes,
you're in
I
a
love a
zone.
divine instinct.
Yeah, when you're in a zone, because I learned this in basketball actually. Like, I used to buy all these basketball books and stuff, and they would say like, okay, like focus, like focus intensely or whatever, and you do a certain thing, and you'll be in you do a certain thing, and you'll be in like you'll go to your instincts instead of thinking. And that was big for me, because I would like overthink on a basketball court. And
Mm-hmm.
once I realized, hey, if I can just be focused and present, then I will still be functional in like, and that really came back now that I fully understand it, which was like, wow, you're way better. Like when you're operating on straight instincts instead of just like overwhelmed by your thoughts.
Overthinking,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, wow, now
You're
you have
better at like everything that you do.
everything, literally
Everything that you
everything.
do, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, so I was like, okay, I felt special, I guess, in my little bubble here. And it's like, but it's like everyone in my reality, nobody's spiritual. So it's like just like a huge side of me that's like I couldn't express to anybody. And I discovered spiritual Twitter and stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, like all these spiritual people on here now. And then like now I'm tweeting this stuff, and I'm like, wow, people are appreciating this stuff. Like, oh my gosh. And it's like I'm seeing like, wow, I don't know. It's just I'm like it's like I feel like I guess I'm supposed to be out there. Like my personality and who I am and what I understood is like kind of supposed to be shown, I guess. I don't know. Does that
Oh
make
yeah,
sense?
no, for freaking
Yeah.
sure. Absolutely. It absolutely should. But yeah, just going back to the how presence makes everything better. Like I totally feel that within like music making, within my relationships and connections, human connections, everything. Like just being present and
Mhm.
not being in your head is just like an
Mhm.
amazing, amazing thing to practice for sure.
So in your music making process, how does presence, how has that changed, like since you discovered presence? Are you, because look, I would, all my creative work is done on an empty mind, right? I never think about anything or
Mhm.
analyze anything. I'm just literally in the zone, being present, and just like, and just the creative energy just flows right out of me. Like even as I'm speaking right now, I'm not thinking or pre-thinking any of these thoughts.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm literally just it's just flowing out of me. I literally don't try to make this up. It just flows out of me, right? So
Yeah,
where's that
no,
with you?
for sure.
Yeah, with your music,
Uh,
like what is that like?
I think fortunately I've always been pretty present with my music making process even
Wow.
before I knew what presence was. I've
Wow.
never really overthought music like that. I always just wrote what I felt like, and I always knew that I had unlimited creativity. I think
Really?
that's
Wow.
something I always knew. Yeah, I always knew that it was infinite, and I never had like doubts or like writer's block or stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really pretty happy about that. I think it's because I've been doing it for so long. Like I think I wrote my first song when I was like 4 years old or 5 or something.
Whoa. Yeah.
Like that's my earliest memory of like songwriting. So I think that it just became such an instinctual thing that I really never thought twice about it. Like I would be like, all right, this is fire, like whatever. Put it out. Put it out.
It's fire. Do you listen to your own music?
Yeah, I like only listen to my own music.
Oh snap! Because I know a lot of people don't like to listen to their own music, but you do. Like that's a thing. Like that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, especially if I release a new song, I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to be bumping that new song. And if I'm making a new song, I'm definitely listening to that new song. But then after that, I just move on. But I love revisiting music. I love when people play my music. Like, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I have a little podcast, and when I have fans and just like when people listen to me, it's like, wow, this is so like it's just the most
Yeah, so
incredible.
awesome.
Yeah. But I can't listen to my own podcast too much. Like I don't know. I don't
Yeah, I
know.
feel like with podcasts, it would be a little bit
Okay.
different because I'd be
Okay.
like, damn, I'm going to hear myself talk for mad long.
Yeah. I'm just not trying to
It's
get
like I'm glad it happens. I'm glad that that dialogue happened. But yeah, like I understand. I'd be like, all right, next,
Next.
next
Um.
combos.
So how do you feel? So how did you? Sorry, I don't know. Like, how did you like? When did you really start taking music seriously, and when did you have like start breaking through? When did you start having all these people listen to your music? Like, how did that even happen? And like, was there internal? I don't know. Like, how does that feel? Like, I just want you to explain just like success, like the feeling of success to people. Like, even for me, like with someone with a podcast, right? Like, I want to know from you, like, what's the feeling of just kind of your content, basically, just blowing up, basically, in a sense, right? Having all this exposure, like, what does that feel like?
Well, thank you. Thanks for thinking I'm
Mhm.
popping. But damn, honestly, I mean, I'm just gonna give you a really brief summary of my career trajectory.
Yeah.
Basically, I remember the thought that manifested. I remember the one thought. Sorry, I'm muted
Go
myself.
ahead.
But
Go
anyway,
ahead.
the one thought that manifested my entire career, I remember being on my couch in Ridgewood, Queens, and I came back from speaking at this model panel thing. I was like doing modeling at the time, and I was like trying to be like I don't even know. I don't really know what I was trying to do. But yeah, I sat on my couch and I was like, damn. I was like, I'm kind of tired of being in this like kind of more look centric space. I've never really been too about my looks. Like I
Yeah.
garnered attention because of my looks, but I've never really like I was never really too into that. I always knew that I was a writer, like those were things that I wanted to be like,
Yeah.
recognized for. So then I was like, all right, I'm kind of tired of being in this space because it's like, damn, I could be as lit as I want, but in modeling,
Hmm.
there's a
Hmm.
there's a ceiling. It's at the end, it's about your looks, most of the
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I was like, I kind of want to do music. And then I sat there and I was like, well, yeah, duh. I have so much potential in music. I was like,
Hmm.
why haven't I professionally pursued it? And then I just remember thought, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna professionally pursue it. That's it. I'm gonna do it. And that's it. I had that one thought and I literally went to bed feeling like I won a Grammy. Like I went to bed feeling amazing. Like I remember this feeling distinctly where I felt like I already had it. I felt like I already made it. So that was the most intense crazy part, and I think that's what it kind of like points to the whole manifestation and stuff like that, where you really feel like you have it, and then it kind of all just comes after that. um but yeah, so I took whatever, I recorded a project. I tweeted that I needed a manager, and I got in contact with people who are in music, and that's it. It all just went on from there. I mean, I don't I feel like I just have a vision. I have a strong vision for my career, and things just fall into place, how they're supposed to. But yeah.
Did you have a specific vision? Were you like, oh, I just want to make music, or I want to be just popping in music, or was it like, hey, I want to blah blah blah, like certain specific details, or was it just kind of like, hey, I want to be a musician, or that's it? Like, how specific was your vision at the time?
I mean, I knew I wanted to make like the best music out. I knew that I felt like I was capable, and I knew I just all it took was people kind of like recognizing it, because I wanted the work to be so good. I wanted to just make the song so good that whenever somebody listened to it, if people
Yeah,
listened to it, they were like, damn, this is great. That was my
I love
intention.
it.
And
Mhm.
that continues being my intention, is just to make like music that I think is really fucking good. That's my intention. And yeah, I think that was my more specific goal. Definitely to like um kind of like stay creatively empowered. I didn't really want to like, I saw a lot of, no offense to them obviously, but I saw a lot of kind of I think major label artists, and they would I feel like fall into a lot of you know similar sounds maybe, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
just
I
be a
know. We
little
know.
bit creatively. Yeah,
We
yeah.
know. We
So
know.
we know the vibes. We know the vibes. So
Yeah.
I think I was seeing that. So my intention definitely was to remain creatively empowered, and
Hmm.
I knew that I always wanted it to be about the music. So yeah, I think that's my more specific intention with that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to in my life define like what is it that I want to do? Like, do I want to have do I like do I want to have like a million podcast listeners? Is that what I want to do? Do I want to like make money? Do I want to have a million like Twitter followers or YouTube followers? Or recently I kind of like where I'm at right now is kind of realizing I want to help a million people raise their vibration, right? Like that's kind of the goal for now kind of
That's
thing.
a
Like
great goal.
you know what I'm saying? So it's just, and it'll evolve past that. But, I'm still trying to, because, I was thinking like, really successful people, especially billionaires, right? Like they have this huge vision and they're just so focused on it. Like they, because, your attention is like your currency, right? So you're, like you got to be, it's important to just kind of be really careful or just kind of, just aware of what you're focused on in a day, right?
Mhm.
So like was with you, was there like an intense focus on music or was it just like, okay, that's a big goal you want and you just like, but other than that, you just live your life or
Yeah.
what was
No, there was
like,
definitely an intense focus on it. I don't think it was that healthy at one point. I
what
think
does that
now
mean? Yeah.
I think now I have a healthier focus on it where I just I'm detached from the result. I'm just enjoying the process.
Yeah.
I'm open to all the possibilities. I don't have a really controlled sense of where I want to go. I think before I was like, damn, okay, this project's going to pop off. And then like
Yeah.
also I met with like a lot of people at the time, like labels and stuff, and they'd be like, wow, this song's a hit, sign to us and we'll make it, you know what I'm saying? So people put a lot of like ideas into my head and stuff, and
Yeah.
I might have definitely felt pressured because I felt
Yeah.
like everybody, when I first entered the industry, everybody's like, oh my god, like this is amazing, like blah blah blah. And they were putting all these expectations, I feel like, on me. But yeah, so I think before I was focused and I was really motivated because I knew what I had to offer with my music, and like I knew what I could do. I don't think I had the spiritual tools to be happy during the process. So now it's way
Okay.
different where it's like yeah, I have an end result, I guess.
Yeah.
Not really though, because I
Yeah.
know that only greatness will kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
conspire
Okay.
with the not knowing exactly what's going to happen every step of the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's way better now. It's way better now. It feels a lot more effortless now. I'm just effortlessly living life and being happy and making stuff I want to make and whatever.
Yeah, you really can't be happy and just try to effort things and you can't really think I had like a really wise sounding saying in my head but I just totally lost it but you can't really effort while you're being happy either because that'll just take you out of it, right? Like when you're happy you're effortless basically and just
Yeah.
things happen like
Yeah.
the
So dope.
what me and you understand is that like when we're happy we're tapping into the universal forces because if you think about frequency like if you think about source or should we go into all that like right
I
now
don't
or
know.
yeah, let's all right. Let's I kind of gotta go soon because I gotta feed my little sister.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you. I'm about
Yeah.
to finish recording this like crazy song that I'm about to drop.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'm gonna end this here. But before we go, like I want to kind of lead some of our new followers, give them something to just kind of like not
Yeah,
study, but
also, you know what? Also, I think it's cool that we've been talking for a sec, but I feel like we've barely cracked into like,
dude, yeah, no,
so
yeah.
many things. So I think that's actually really cool because it's like, it's just so much left to be
Yo, yeah,
uncovered and
we're
talked
keeping
about.
we're keeping it on the absolute surface right now, right? Like it can go like way deeper, right?
You'd
Like
be,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So yeah, but okay, so
But
power.
our surface is not that surface though. Just saying.
What do you mean?
Our idea of surface is not that surface.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Um, okay, so Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, I definitely recommend. Um, that's really like honestly the starting point. I just recommend Power Now. Like starting point.
Yes, me
I don't want
too.
to get into Abraham Hicks or
Me
anything like
too.
that because that's just confusing
Mhm.
people. Um,
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great starting point, and maybe even just like yeah, definitely read that. I think that's great. That's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, and just practicing that and just
Yeah.
learning how to be present, maybe focusing on one thing at a time. If you're brushing your teeth in the morning, just don't think, just motherfucking focus on brushing your teeth. Little stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think that's a extremely impactful first read.
Right. All right. So Power Now, and I was just for those who want to kind of understand a little bit more, check out episode 55. It's called Portals into Presence. And I have other episodes about presence and stuff, but
Yes.
yeah, there's
Check out all of Andy's content if you're interested in this. He has it all. I send your Twitter page to everybody I know. Literally everybody I think I come in contact with at this point. I'm like, by the way, I'm doing great, and if you want to also do awesome, and you should definitely check out my friend Andy. But yeah, so check out all his stuff. He creates amazing conscious content, amazing resources, amazing information, amazing teachings. So yeah, go check it
That's
out.
so crazy to me, because it's not like I don't even like coach you, like you don't even ask me for like spiritual advice or anything. It's just like,
Cause I'm so grateful
saying?
already that I just like.
Yeah, like damn. But yeah, all right, yeah. Let's wrap this up. Okay, so Eckhart's Power Now. I mean, you're like way more famous than me. I feel like if you want to plug your music, go ahead. Like I just feel like, you know what I'm saying?
No, yeah, I'm like definitely check out the Power Now, and then
Yeah.
listen to my music
Yeah.
after. Listen to
Yeah,
my music
I'll
all the
link you.
time.
I'll
Fuck
link
it.
you. Yeah. All right.
But yeah, no, I just want people to soak this in and hopefully start their
Yeah.
spiritual journey.
Yeah. All right. Link in the description below. If you want to listen to some lit ass music.
Yes.
And we're out.
Have a good one.